Hi guys, welcome to the Doves Only Sports channel platform. If you're watching this on the if you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening on the podcast, welcome in. To start off with, make sure you follow us on our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all at Doves Only Sports. And then if you're listening on one or the other for the podcast or on YouTube, go check out the podcast or go check out the channel. Just type in Doves Only Sports in the search bar and you should be able to find us. Today, episode 6, we are going to be getting into these insane NFL games that occurred in the previous week. And I mean, there are a lot, but I say why not go in chronological order here? Start with the Colts Vikings game. I mean, the biggest comeback in NFL history. The Colts up 33-0 at halftime just to lose what was the score at the end?
39-36.
39-36, just to lose 39-36. So not only did they score 33 points in the first half, but they're so bad that they only scored 3 points in the second half and then scored no points in overtime. So, yeah, I mean, Kirk
My God.
Cousins, the go? What's the
No, no.
what is it?
Okay, I want to say this. First of all, Matt Ryan is the biggest choker in sports history. Okay, that's the number one thing.
Mhm.
He let Kirk Cousins come back. Kirk Cousins. See, in the Super Bowl, he let Tom Brady come back. So like that's as bad as that is, and as bad as it is for him to lose the Super Bowl, it's Tom Brady. He
Yeah.
let Kirk Cousins, who is awful,
Yeah.
awful, come back from a 33 to nothing deficit at halftime.
Yep.
Imagine being up 33 to nothing at halftime, a 5 possession game, and losing 39-36. They scored 3 points in the second half. They give up 39 points in the second half and overtime.
Yep.
I mean, how do you do that? How do you sell that hard? I mean, it just Matt Ryan should announce his retirement tomorrow from the NFL.
Mhm.
And everyone's gonna say Jeff Saturday, he should be fired too. Don't get me wrong, but oh my God, I mean that I was watching. I think I don't even know what I was watching. I think yeah, I was watching the World Cup. Like I don't know, I was watching like some college basketball or something, and I see like the Colts are up 33 nothing. I'm like, there it is. I can that now I can say that Kirk Cousins is an absolute bum and the Vikings are trash. And
Yeah.
then the Colts just mess it up. I'm like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a battle of two. I mean, everyone's gonna say the Vikings are good. The Vikings are not good. So I just want to get that out of the way. But
Yeah.
two very below average teams. Even though you're gonna say, oh, the Vikings are good. The Vikings are good. Watch them in the playoffs. Watch them in the play. They're not doing
I
anything.
don't I
Okay.
don't think the Vikings are good. I mean, even the Eagles played the
Yeah.
Vikings and I saw them then
Oh
and I'm
my
like,
God. Oh
Jesus.
my God. It's awful. I mean, awful. Like,
Yeah, that was a an interesting game. Unfortunately, I wasn't watching it, but I was like keeping up with the scores as they were happening and I got to admit, it was just the weirdest game of all time. I mean, Matt Ryan definitely has PTSD from that Super Bowl
you
when
can't get that
he,
away from him. Yeah,
yeah,
no.
when he blew that 28-3 lead over Tom Brady and the Patriots, and I feel like he's just the same guy. But
Oh, dude.
yeah, that was brutal. I mean, props to the Vikings for staying in it and winning the game, but they shouldn't have been down 33 points in the first place. They
The
definitely
Colts.
should have. Yeah, not only that, but they were held scoreless against the
Yes,
Colts.
they gave up 33 and they didn't score a point against the Colts, who before this game were 4-8-1. A
Yeah,
terrible team. Couldn't even figure out their quarterback situation. They started Matt Ryan again after that whole issue set whatever. They brought him back. You're down 33 nothing to the Colts at
yeah,
home,
yeah,
and you're trying to secure a 1 or 2 seed, and you lay an egg like that, and then everyone's say, "Oh, the comeback." Like the Colts are terrible, and you're facing Matt Ryan. That's not that impressive. I mean, I don't. It's very impressive in the sense that you're down from 33 points and you come back.
hmm
Okay, respect to that. But
yeah,
I don't think this. I think this says more about how bad the Colts are than how good the Vikings are. Because I don't think
yeah,
the Vikings are that good. I think it shows how bad the Vikings are in the sense that they got down by such a big margin. If they face any other team ever, They're
Yeah.
not winning that game. I mean, it's an embarrassment. They can face the Texans and be down 33-0. The Texans will beat them. That was an abysmal performance by the Colts. The Colts should be ashamed of themselves. Their GM should be fired. Their manager should be fired. Jeff Saturday, I don't know what they were thinking for hiring Jeff Saturday. I love him on ESPN. Go back to
Yeah.
ESPN, buddy. Coaching is not for you. I don't hear any
Jesus.
excuses. You lost a 33-point lead in your like what third game, dude? Get out of here. You're done. Go back to ESPN. You're an amazing ESPN analyst. Go back to ESPN. And oh my god, if this is I mean the Colts honestly as a franchise, they should just give up. I mean, they should honestly like I mean, they had Andrew Luck. They should just be like rename them the Indianapolis Lucks because like that was their whole franchise. They lost him and then what I mean, play like
Yeah.
this is embarrassing. I mean,
Yeah. Think about it. In the last 3 years, they've had Philip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and Matt Ryan as their
and Philip
quarterbacks,
Rivers is the best one, bro.
which is
Worst part,
sad.
Philip Rivers, who is basically couldn't even walk. He's trying to
Yeah.
like coach high school football now. He was the best one. He almost like he actually played well against the but like he was actually decent. Like
Yeah.
oh dude, poverty franchise, bro.
Yeah. And then the Dolphins Bills game also very
Oh
interesting. We had like snowball fights and
yeah,
all that kind of stuff. So that was an interesting. Not we knew it was going to be a good game, and I feel like everyone knew the Bills were going to win just because the Dolphins definitely aren't used to that environment. But it is
yeah.
nice to see that it was a competitive game, and I feel like it's safe to say that that could be what the AFC Championship looks like. I could see Dolphins
Mm.
Bills in that championship game. I'll be honest.
I mean, I think both these teams are very good. I actually everyone's gonna be just roasting the Dolphins for like having t-shirts like it's not cold
Yeah,
enough or whatever, and for them to lose this game. But I actually think that they showed out pretty good. I mean, Tyreek didn't have a great game. I mean the receiver. I mean it's tough because it was snowing and like it was very cold for them. The
yeah,
receivers they kind
mhm,
of relied on the run game, but I was actually impressed the Dolphins were winning in the fourth quarter. I was like, I thought the Bills were gonna win this one pretty easily considering the Dolphins always play in warm weather and they have to go up to the snow in Buffalo at home. Like I thought that they were gonna get crushed, but they actually
yeah.
stayed in the game. They controlled the game a little bit, but then in the fourth quarter they just blew the lead. I mean, it's just I think the Dolphins are still a good team. I think they still need another year to like completely develop and gel. I don't think they're ready this year to compete for the Super Bowl because in the AFC, I think that it starts off with the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Bills, and those are
Okay,
the three teams. And then I feel like the Dolphins are on that next tier with the Ravens, but I just think the Dolphins are gonna have a little trouble competing against the best teams, especially on the road. But I was actually kind of impressed with their performance. I'm gonna say,
hmm. I mean, you bring up how they're on the same level as the Ravens. The Ravens game this
oh
week
God,
was atrocious as well. I mean,
yeah,
they beat
wow.
the
No, they lost. They lost to the Browns 13-3.
that's right. Yeah, they lost to the Browns 13-3. I mean,
It's a bad performance. That's embarrassing. I think they don't have Lamar Jackson, right? It was Tyler Huntley
yeah,
playing, or
yeah, it was Tyler Huntley.
yeah. I mean,
But I
yeah,
mean,
that's
I feel like, Lamar Jackson really is kind of like carrying the Baltimore franchise there
yeah,
because,
yeah.
and because
Clearly,
like the Browns obviously are going to score 13 points. Deshaun Watson ain't him. He's not getting massaged anymore. So he's not going to be, he's not going to be playing to his peak potential. And so, yeah,
yeah. That
for the
they're
Browns,
kind
it
of in
makes
playoff
sense.
contention though. They're kind of in playoff contention. They're 6-8. I mean, they're not really in playoff contention, but if they win the next three games, they can make the playoffs.
If they do make it to the playoffs, they'll get absolutely slaughtered in the first
Oh,
round.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
But their schedule's light. I mean, they face the Saints at home. That should be a win. Then they go to the Commanders, which is a tough game. But you could just saw the Giants beat the Commanders this week, so that's a gimme. And then the Steelers
Yeah.
at the Steelers. I mean, it's a tough game, but they can make. I mean, I don't think they're gonna, but they can. It's a
Yeah.
possibility. But I don't
Mhm.
trust in Deshaun Watson right now. I gotta
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson is a questionable character for the Browns, but
Yeah.
um another crazy end to a crazy game, Raiders Patriots. I mean, I feel
Oh
like
my God.
I feel like the Raiders are so bad this year that the only way they can actually win games is by doing it like that. They have had so many games where they've been up big or they've had a chance to potentially win the game.
Oh
And
my God.
Yeah, and they like it's just been like, this would be the way that the Raiders win again. I'm honestly surprised that their D lineman didn't fumble the ball on the way to
Oh
the end
yeah,
zone.
no, that's the thing.
Honestly.
It's like if you're looking at it and like after watching the NFL for like 10 years, right?
Yeah.
When you look at this, you're like the Patriots are the team that doesn't make mistakes. They take care of the football. They're very smart. They don't always have the most explosive players or the best players, but they always compete and they're very smart about it. And then you
Yeah.
look at the Raiders, they're like, yeah, sometimes they have some flashy players, but they're just not smart. They have a lot of penalties, blah, blah, blah. The way
Yeah.
that the Raiders won the game by intercepting a Patriots lateral, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think anyone would have expected that. Anyone. I
And
mean,
then the stiff arm as well. Like there's that iconic picture going around the internet like wildfire. A D lineman stiff arming the quarterback, and especially a quarterback like Mac Jones. It's just,
yeah,
it was a sad
that's
day
just
for
like, oh
Patriots
my
and
God.
Patriots fans yesterday.
I think the Patriots should give up on that whole thing. I think they're done. I mean, Tom left a few years ago. They're trying to compete for playoff spots, but after seeing this, I mean, that's just pathetic. I mean, this is up there with. I mean, this was not as bad as what the Colts did, but they try to give the Colts a run for their money. I got to say, they were trying to mess it. I mean, I think that singular play has to be one of the stupidest plays of all time. Just run the ball,
Yeah.
go to overtime. If you lose in overtime, you lose in overtime. Why give the game to a Raiders team that the Raiders give the game away all the time? I mean, you
Yeah,
just
and
can't. The
going to
Raiders
overtime would have like guaranteed a
exactly.
win.
Yeah, exactly. It's because like the Raiders always blow games. They blew this game. They were winning a lot in this game, and then
Yeah,
just
exactly.
the Patriots just sold. And that's not what you expect from the Patriots. But I mean, now
Yeah,
who knows the Patriots? I mean,
I just feel like the Patriots have got it rough, especially in the AFC East. I mean, you look at teams like the Dolphins and like the Jets, and it's just like, yeah, like it's definitely gotten a little bit more competitive, and the Bills especially.
yeah,
And so, I just think it makes it like really hard for the Patriots to actually, go back to what their dynasty was when they had Tom Brady. But it really does go to show that, like people were always talking about like, oh, it was like the argument between, well, is it
yeah,
Bill Belichick's coaching or Tom Brady's skill? I feel like it's
yeah,
safe to say that it might not be either, because even Tom Brady on the Bucks. I mean,
yeah,
you look at what the Bucks did this week. They blew a 17-3 lead against the Bengals
yeah,
at home. I mean,
yeah,
the Bengals sure are in playoff contention and do look
yeah,
like a great team, but there have been some questionable games for the Bengals where you go, well, are they really like the same team
yeah.
that they were last year? So there is that. And speaking of the AFC East, the Jets, losing to the Lions, I'm honestly not too surprised by it, all
Oh, not
because
at
Zach
all.
Wilson started. I just feel like Zach Wilson being starting QB for the Jets just isn't a good chemistry move, a good dynamic move for the team. I feel like what they had with Mike White was really
I
somehow.
don't like him at all. I don't think he's that good. First of all, I don't think
Yeah,
he's that good. Second of all, he has a terrible attitude and he wants to be the center of attention instead of being a team player. Mike White was a team player and he really worked with the chemistry of the team. All the receivers liked him. The receivers hate Zach Wilson. He's a total showboat. He thinks he's that guy. He hasn't
yeah,
done anything in the league. He played at BYU. He didn't do anything there. He wasn't even that good there at BYU,
exactly.
who they don't play anyone. So I mean, he has a lot of he reminds me of like Josh Rosen with all the confidence, but like nothing to back it up.
Yeah,
And I honestly could see him being out of the league soon because like who's gonna pick him up? But whatever.
a
And then
USFL team.
exactly. And then I gotta say, I'm kind of on the Lions bandwagon right now. They've been this year, early in the year, they
Yeah,
were losing close games. I mean, they almost beat the Eagles, they almost beat the Vikings, they almost beat the Seahawks. They were kind of in it against the Cowboys, and then they blew it at the end. They were in it with the Dolphins. They were in it with the Bills. I mean, all their losses have been close losses, and then they were winning. They're on like a what is it? They've won like 6 out of 7 games. I mean,
yeah,
this is a
and they
good
beat the
football team.
Vikings. They beat the Vikings
Yeah,
as well.
this is a good football team. They're playing at Carolina, against Chicago at home, and then at the Packers. I could easily see them win all those games, and then maybe they'll lose one, but they're gonna end with a winning record. And
Yeah,
I think they're gonna make the playoffs. I mean, I gotta say, I think that I mean they don't have the head to head with the Seahawks, so that's gonna be
hmm,
a little tough. But I think they're gonna make the playoffs. I gotta say, like I've liked what I've seen from them. I like their coach. I think their coach, they I like their work ethic, their chemistry. I think that
yeah,
this is a team. Even though Jared Goff's their quarterback, I just like even though he's not that guy, you could see he didn't lead the Rams to the Super Bowl, but he took a Rams team to the Super Bowl, which is
yeah,
impressive. I mean, he's not a top tier quarterback, but he's a solid NFL quarterback.
yeah,
And I just like all the parts around him. Their O line has improved a lot. Their defense is
mm,
not great, but getting better. Their run game is really strong. And I feel like the run game being that it's very important in the NFL to have a good run game because you can really control the line of scrimmage and control time of possession. And I feel
Yeah.
like that run game is really going to help them, especially in the playoffs when you go to like if you go to Minnesota or you go to the Eagles or you go to like I don't know San Francisco, you need to run the ball, and
Hmm.
I just feel like that's a big trait for them. I mean, you don't obviously trust Jared Goff that much to throw the ball in 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, but I
Yeah.
like their team. I like where they're going. I feel like they have a bright future. Just don't screw it up. Don't be the Lions anymore, and just try to continue on the momentum. But I
Yeah.
like what I'm seeing from the Detroit Lions. I gotta say, I did not expect that at the beginning of the year, but I like it.
Yeah, the lines do confuse me. I feel like maybe not the lines, but well, it is kind of the lines. It's more specifically like the players they have. I mean, I look at a player like Jared Goff, and obviously he's not like the greatest quarterback in the league, but I look at his performance against like that one game against the Chiefs when he played for the Rams, and it was like a
Yes.
combined 110 points. He was stellar. Patrick Mahomes was stellar. It was just a clash of like two of the best teams in the league and an ultimate classic that like is like gone down in the history books. And I look at that and I see his transition over to the Lions. And for the most part, so far, it just like really hasn't been great. I mean, you look at what the Rams did last year without him. They literally won the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. So it's
Yeah.
definitely like a blow, it's a blow to the gut for Jared Goff. And maybe now he's like finally like comfortable with the lines and like maybe starting to make a name for himself. And also, you look at like some of the players they have. I mean, they had TJ Hawkinson for, a good part of the season. And then you also
Yeah.
got receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown. And it's just like, like they do, like, it's not the worst team in the league for
Totally.
sure. Like they definitely, like you said, like they keep a lot of games close. And I just
Yeah.
feel like it's finishing those games that really
Yeah.
kills the Lions.
They
So,
bettered. I feel like they've shown a lot of progress. Early in the year, they were losing the close games. Now they're winning the close games. And I think it shows the progress that they made. And the thing is, I really like they have a very good offensive line. And I feel like that's always important in the NFL. You look right now, the Buccaneers are not playing that well because their O line is all hurt and Tom Brady needs that O line. I feel like the O line and D line in the NFL in particular, more so than college, are very, very important. And I
yeah.
feel like them having a strong offensive line, they've built a foundation that they can be successful for the next 5 to 6 years. And I
Hmm.
feel like they have a quarterback who's not going to be the best quarterback, or I don't even think can lead them to a Super Bowl. But if they improve the quarterback position and improve their defense, I think that they have. I mean, they have Hutchinson now from Michigan, so I feel like that really helps the D line. But
Hmm.
I think if they shore up the back end of the defense and they get like a star quarterback, I feel like they could be like a really good team in the future. I mean, I like what
Yeah.
I've seen from them, I gotta say. But then we got to talk about this now. You know who we need to talk about?
Who do we need to talk about?
How about them Cowboys?
Oh my
How about
God.
them Cowboys, bro?
Oh my
Oh
goodness. You
my
know what?
God,
As an Eagles fan, I can't I've never been happier in
dude.
my life. I mean, Cowboys fans, you every all you Cowboys fans out there, I just gotta know, right? You guys haven't won a playoff game in 30 something years. It's been at
God
least
knows
three
when.
decades.
It's been way too
That's you,
long.
yeah, you guys have won a playoff game. And every year you guys come into the season and you guys talk about we them boys, we go into the Super Bowl, we win in the Super Bowl, but yet we get to this point in the season and
What
you know,
always
I
happens?
I can't help but look around at the rest of the league and go, why did you make those claims in the beginning of the year? I just don't see like
Yeah,
when that was going to get backed up because as we
yeah,
saw, Trevor Lawrence, right? Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, who are a losing team, yes, have assets, but still haven't been able to figure them out yet. Have had
yeah,
the Jags have had some interesting games this year, but are
yeah.
still not the greatest team in the world. And you lost to that. And now you go into next week facing the 13-1 Eagles, although there might be an injured Jalen Hurts that
Yeah.
misses the rest of the season. You got to deal with Gardner Minshew. I mean, and where did Gardner
Gardner Mania? Yeah.
where was Gardner Minshew before he was at Philly? I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, this is such typical Cowboys. It's almost ridiculous. I mean, the
Yeah,
Cowboys just it's every year. I mean, Stephen A says it best. What can go wrong will go
will go
wrong. And
wrong.
it's just it's just facts. I mean, Stephen A says a lot of dumb stuff, but
Yeah.
this one is always spot on, and all the people on First Take always are like, the Cowboys are good, the Cowboys are good, and he always tells them what can go wrong will go
Will
wrong,
go
and
wrong.
it's
Absolutely.
such facts. I mean, it just literally it's been written in scripture. It's just that's what it is, dude. The Cowboys just can't get away from it, and it's just amazing to me because like everyone hypes up their defense. They gave up 40 points to Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. I know the Jaguars have some good players on offense, and Trevor Lawrence is playing actually decent this year, but
Yeah.
you can't give up 40 points, and it's just the way they lost. They were
Yep.
up
Up
27-10, and then
exactly.
they lose on an overtime pick six by Dak Prescott. And I want to
Yeah.
get to this. I think that the Cowboys, their defense is very good. Their O line has always been good. Their running
Hmm.
game's good. Their receivers in the last few years have been pretty good, solid, right? Dak Prescott is a good leader. He's not a Super Bowl level quarterback. He just isn't.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone's gonna hype up Dak Prescott and say how good he is. He's a solid NFL quarterback, but he is closer to Jared Goff level than Patrick Mahomes level. And that's the problem that Cowboys fans are never gonna be able to accept is that Jared Goff and Dak Prescott are more similar than Dak Prescott is to Joe Burrow or
Yeah.
Tom Brady
Yeah.
or Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. And
Or
I'm sorry
Jalen
to say it,
Hurts.
or even Jalen Hurts. Because I mean, it's just amazing to me. Like the Cowboys fans genuinely deep down think that they're gonna
Believe.
win the Super Bowl. They
Believe.
believe
Yeah.
it. They believe it. And it's
Yeah.
just to me, I'm like every year, I'm like, it's not.
Yeah.
Like if they play the 49ers, the 49ers will romp them. They will
Yeah.
romp them. Even
You look at
Brock
you
Purdy.
look at the top
I mean,
teams. You look at all the teams in the
oh my
divisions.
God.
I mean, even like as bad as the
Beat
NFC
them.
North is, it's
The NFC. Oh, dude, I'm telling you, the if the Bucks play the Cowboys in the playoffs, I would not be surprised if the Bucks win. I mean, they beat them earlier this year. Tom
yeah,
Brady in the playoffs is unstoppable. I mean, it's just they're amazing to me. The way that they do this every single year. I mean, Skip Bayless deserves this.
yeah,
Deserves this. But it's just, oh my God. I mean, I saw that game and I saw like the Jags won. I'm like, oh, it's whatever. Like Jags won. I saw early in the week everyone was saying, oh, like on First Tech, everyone's like, oh, this is a trap game. This is a trap game. I'm like, yeah, it probably is a trap game because you're going to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's always tough in Jacksonville because like the
yeah.
temperature is really hot.
Hmm.
So I'm like, oh, it could be a tough game. I actually thought the Jags had a chance of winning this game, but then when it happened, it just was so much better because like
Yeah,
Stephen A on First Take was like, oh no, the Cowboys should win this game. The Cowboys should win this game, but he was just trolling them because he knew that the Jags are going to win this game because like the Cowboys, when the pressure's on, they burst.
yeah,
They always say like pressure can break you or it builds diamonds. For them, it breaks them every single time, bro. Like they just
yeah,
can't. They're not built for the moment. I mean, they just have a bunch of really talented players that can't handle pressure. That's all I got to say. I mean, they always will. I mean, in the playoffs, they were like 13 and they had like 13-3 a few years ago, lost to the Packers. Then last year they lost to the 49ers at home. I mean, they just can't. They're just not built for it. I'm
yeah,
sorry. They're just not built. I mean, yeah,
yeah.
it's just embarrassing for them.
I feel like the Christmas Eve game this week against the Eagles is definitely going to be it'll be a test for them, especially if Jalen Hurts isn't playing. Because if
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts isn't playing, that is like
to
an
win, they have to
opportunity.
win.
They have
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
So,
And I
it'll
think the funny
just
part is that they'll probably win if Jalen Hurts doesn't play, and they'll get all this confidence, like, oh, we're them boys,
and then lose
right?
the rest of the games of the season.
And then I kind of want them to go win out and go 13-4, and then in the playoffs lose in the first round. I
Yeah,
can see that happening. I
I
gotta say,
love
I mean,
that.
I don't even. I mean, I could see some team going into Jerry World and just beating them just because, like if the Lions played the Cowboys, I don't think the Lions would win, but I would not be
Mhm.
shocked if the Lions won because it just they're the Cowboys. I mean, I just
Yeah.
as bad as the Lions are as a franchise, the Cowboys are they're the meme of the NFL. Everyone says America's team. I'm like, no, like
America's
they're
team sucks.
sucks. I mean, I don't think that's a good look for America, but that's America's team. I mean, I gotta say, like, it's embarrassing for the Cowboys. That franchise is
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
shambles, and everyone is hyping them up to win the Super Bowl. I don't think anyone deep down believes they're gonna win the Super Bowl, unless you're a
Yeah.
diehard Cowboys fan that is totally delusional enough to become a Cowboys fan. No
Embrace the
one actually believes.
delusions. Absolutely.
Exactly. They are so delusional. I don't think they're even in the top 7 or 8 of Super Bowl contenders. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's pretty clear in the AFC we have the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills. I
Yep.
would even take the Dolphins and the Ravens at the same
Mm-hmm.
level as the Cowboys. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's very close. I don't think they're better than the Cowboys, but in the playoffs, who knows? Then you look in
Yeah.
the NFC. I mean, I don't think the Vikings are great, so I feel like that's kind of it's
Yeah.
kind of annoying. But I think that the Eagles are clearly number one, and then the Niners are like
Yeah.
my dark horse Super Bowl pick. I like the Niners a lot. That defense is insane. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's like 7 or 8 teams that are ahead of the Cowboys in Super Bowl contention. They're not going to win the
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl this year. Mark it on record. They are not going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Amen.
So it's just embarrassing for them the way they perform when they need to. I mean, end of the year, they always start off the season strong and close it out terribly, and that's just what they
Yeah.
do. I mean, that's just what they
Yeah.
do.
I mean, yeah, we've only got a few weeks left now in the NFL
Yeah.
season. So in the upcoming weeks, we will be uploading a lot of videos. Well, not a lot of videos, but just videos based on the NFL schedule and the playoffs in general. We'll definitely have a video on that in the future. But before we close this one out, maybe do a couple of picks for next week's NFL games. For starters, we've got the Eagles and the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium. I mean, Jalen Hurts possibly injured. Dallas are coming up as 6-point favorites. So can you see Dallas coming away with a much needed win there? Because if the Eagles win, they clinch the number one spot in the NFC. So what do you
Yeah.
think for that?
I think that the Cowboys are going to win because it's in Dallas, and I think Jalen Hurts being hurt. And it's also like the Eagles have nothing to play for at this point. They're winning the division by 3 games. There's 3 games to go. I just don't see them blowing this lead in the division. I feel like they kind of have it under control, and I just don't think they care that much. And I feel like the Cowboys care a lot about this game, considering they lost the last game to the Jags. I feel like they're gonna have a lot more. They're gonna put a lot more into this game, and especially with Jalen Hurts being out, I just don't see the Eagles put. I mean, who knows? Gardner Minshew might be just that guy and just might come in and
Maybe he could be the new
rock
Nick
that stash.
Foles.
Exactly, be the new Nick Foles, rock that stash and take over and win. But I'm gonna take the Cowboys in this one, and I'm pretty confident about that pick. But who knows? It's always the Cowboys. You can never be confident with us. So actually, I
Yeah,
take that back. I'm not
exactly.
confident with that pick. They should win, but I don't know if they will. I honestly don't know if they will. But I'm gonna take the
Yeah.
Cowboys. I actually because I
And
want them to win. I want them to win to set up the failure in the end of the year. That's why.
yeah,
That's why.
yeah. I would want them to win too, just for the patient
Yeah.
failure at the end.
Yeah.
And then besides that, looking at the schedule here, there's only one like kind of tight game, and I feel like that's between the Giants and the Vikings in Minnesota. Vikings favorites by 3.5 points. Do you think the sports books are accurate on that, or do you think Giants coming in, Vikings with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, especially after the Colts game? Do you think Giants take advantage early and finish out, or do you think Vikings just kind of dominate the entire game?
I don't think the Vikings dominate because they're just not like that kind of team. I think that the Giants and Vikings will be close, but I think the Vikings will score at the end of the game. I just don't see the Giants having enough offensive firepower to win that game. But
Mhm.
again, Kirk Cousins, I can never trust him, so it's very tough. But I'm gonna take the Vikings in this one. But I actually
Yeah,
think the most interesting game of the week might be the Seahawks Chiefs because
I was looking at that, and but I feel like if it was in Seattle,
Seattle, yeah,
it would
yeah.
have been it would have been very interesting because I genuinely don't think that the Chiefs would have been able to cope with all of that because those Seahawks fans will show up for that
Oh,
game.
they show up, yeah,
But I feel like the home field advantage for the Chiefs really, it'll take them a long way. I feel like it'll
yeah.
still be a close game, but the Chiefs will definitely come out on top on that game.
Yeah, I just don't see the Seahawks having enough offensive firepower to win that game. I mean, the Chiefs, I feel like are going to put up points, and even though their defense is sometimes questionable, I just don't think the Seahawks run game is going to be able to match the Kansas City passing game. But
Yeah.
it's a big game though, because the Chiefs need to, if the Chiefs win out and the Bills lose one game, I think the Bills have it actually a pretty difficult end of the year. They have to go to Chicago, which I mean, who
Pretty
knows? I
brute.
mean,
Yeah.
it's not great. I mean, the Bears aren't great, but they have to go to Cincinnati, and I feel like if Cincinnati can beat the Bengals, no, if Cincinnati can beat the Bills
Yeah.
in week 16
Yeah.
or week 17 or whatever, I feel like that's a big deal because I think if the Chiefs win out and the Bengals win that game, then the Chiefs will end up with the 1 seed, and I feel like
Hmm.
the Chiefs having the 1 seed is a big deal because I feel like if they go to Buffalo, it's going to be tough for them. But if it's in Kansas City, I see the Kansas City Chiefs making it to the Super Bowl. Them getting revenge on Cincinnati. I just don't see Cincinnati be able to go to Arrowhead again and beating them again. I know Joe Burrow has beaten Patrick Mahomes in the regular season a lot,
Yeah.
but you look at all those games and it it seems like everyone's gonna say, oh, it's the kind of like the Tom Brady Peyton Manning thing where Tom Brady always wins. But I just Patrick Mahomes is that guy, and I just in Kansas City again, I feel like the Chiefs are gonna win. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like, for me, it's just the home field advantage that really goes a long way for the Chiefs in this game. I feel like, if they're in Seattle, it would definitely be really close. I can't say you can say for sure that the Seahawks would win that game, but it would definitely be a lot closer. And I feel like a lot more Seahawks driven than when it's played at Kansas City next week. But yeah, crazy NFL games this week. Some brutal finishes, some crazy upsets. And yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting season in the NFL in particular. I feel like we've had teams that are supposed to be good that aren't good. We've had teams that
Yeah.
are supposed to be bad that are really good. And we've had, players coming out of nowhere being really good as well. So ultimately, really interesting season. Like I said, we've only got a few more weeks in the NFL season. We'll definitely be doing something for the NFL playoffs. Maybe set up a bracket for the both of us. Maybe, do something like that. But we'll figure it out. As of right now, that's gonna do it for episode 6.
Six,
And
yeah.
make sure you follow us on our social medias at Dubs Only Sports on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you haven't already, go to either our Spotify or our YouTube channel, subscribe. You can find us at Dubs Only Sports again in the search bar. Yeah, other than that, we will see you in episode 7, whatever that will be about. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Anything else you got for the mighty sports Dubs Only sports fans there?
Just like up the videos, subscribe to everything, check out the Instagram, as he said, the TikTok, everything, and we're gonna continue with the videos.
All right, later guys, I'll see you in the next one.